So now we're going to talk about glutaminergic transmission, which is referring to the neurotransmitter glutamate, the major excitatory neurotransmitter of the central nervous system. The way we make glutamate is we take glutamine and the enzyme glutaminase forms glutamate, and glutamate can be transported into a vesicle via the vesicular glutamate transporter. And now the glutamate can be released via exocytosis in response to an action potential traveling down the axon, activating voltage-gated calcium channels on the nerve terminal, allowing calcium influx. Once the glutamate's in the junction, there are some different receptors that glutamate can bind to. This is not an exhaustive list of all the receptors that glutamate can possibly bind to, but I want to point out that there are a family of GPCRs for glutamate that are abbreviated mGlu-R for metabotropic glutamate receptor. And then probably the most well-known glutamate receptor is the NMDA receptor, which stands for N-methyl D-aspartate receptor. And this is a ligand-gated cation channel that lets sodium and calcium into the cell, which gives the excitation. Glutamate is terminated through a couple of mechanisms here. We can see that it can be taken up through a glutamate transport mechanism and then repackaged into a vesicle, or it can be taken up through the same transport mechanism on this cell that has this shape here that is supposed to be an astrocyte, which is a non-neuronal cell. It's part of the glial cell family. And the glutamate, once it's taken up, can be acted upon by glutamine synthetase to form glutamine, which then can go and diffuse out of the cell through a transport mechanism and then be taken up through a similar transporter here, and the glutamine can then be utilized to synthesize more glutamate.